We don't film, but we take a couple of pictures.
That's okay.
So it's gonna be quite easy. When you're ready, I'm gonna say hi. This is DJ Punkcast Bed, and I'm gonna introduce yourself.
All right, cool.
Let's do it. Hey, welcome for the first time to our Quebec radio show. I'm gonna introduce yourself, my friend.
Hey, I'm Kevin. I play guitar in the Interrupters.
Man, welcome for the first time to our radio show. I appreciate that you took times. Not the first time in Montreal. I'm sure you stoked. How was Toronto yesterday?
Toronto was awesome. I have to say, when we tour in the U.S. and then we pop up to Canada for a few days, those shows are always the craziest. So we had a really good time last night. And, you know, we were here last fall. We played at Cafe Campus with Bad Cop, Bad Cop. And that was our favorite show of the whole tour. It was crazy. So we're really excited to be back.
It's crazy. You know, the band started up a couple of years ago. It's amazing to see the achievement of the band so far. I mean, I'm pretty sure when you start up, you remember the first time you fucking played with the Interrupters?
The first time we played here in Montreal?
No, the first show ever.
Oh, yeah, of course I remember the first show ever. The first show ever was at this club called Alpine Village in Torrance, kind of by where we live. And we played with... I don't even remember. It was like a 7-band bill. We played like second or third. And, you know, at our very first show, people were just kind of standing there watching us. They weren't really dancing yet. And then we got really nervous. And then 3 or 4 songs in, they started a little circle pit. And then we're like, you know what? We're going to be okay. As long as you could dance to us, we're stoked. So,
But it's cool because it's purity, man. Those people never saw you, never heard of you. There's nothing released. It's just like it's a pure reaction.
Absolutely, yeah. We had nothing released. We burned a CD with a couple songs. We put out 2 7-inches before our record came out. One was Liberty, and the B-side was White Noise, and one was Family, and the B-side was This Is the New Sound. But we made little CDs that had Liberty, White Noise, and Family on them, and we would just sell them for $1. Yeah.
And that's the first thing. And then came the first records, which I think, you know, I remember when it was released, people was surprised because it's been so years since we heard a song like that. And people were stoked because there was, you know, kind of rancid behind that, you know. And then with the second record, it just fucking explodes.
Yeah, I mean, those are your words, not mine. I don't know about explodes, but we're just trying to keep...
It's a Quebec point of view, you know?
Yeah.
And it's one guy.
Well, I have to say that we've been coming here now for 3 years, and our first time was at Montebello Rockfest, and the Street Dogs couldn't make it, so there was a slot that opened up, and we ended up filling that slot, and it was like one of our first big festivals we ever played, so it was crazy to see all the people that didn't really know our band, and so half of them thought we might be the Street Dogs. So, you know, it was cool, and actually Tim Armstrong was up there, so he came on stage and played with us, and it was really cool that time, too, because he brought his acoustic guitar, and we actually went out onto the streets with him and did, like, an acoustic set, backing him up.
The Music for Cancer, I think, boot camp.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, it's on YouTube. That was, like, one of the most fun times, you know, and that kind of set the tone for us coming to Quebec and just having a great time every time we come here.
And it's cool because, you know, from people, they said that it's pretty different here. But what you said, the Rockfest, it was the first time we have a huge festival around here. And people, you know, were not kind of used to that. So I think that the spirit there reflect that. People are fucking stoked. And it's just, we're proud that, you know, having a kind of festival like that here.
Yeah, no, and the cool thing is like, I've played Rockfest now a few times because I play keyboard for Rancid and I also play bass for the Transplants. So the first time I came to Rockfest was in 2013, and I'd never heard of it. And I just remember coming in, the traffic coming into town because there's only one road.
And it's crazy.
And there's just people, punk rockers everywhere, just walking down the sides of the streets. And I was like, this is like a punk rock, you know, Woodstock kind of thing happening. And it was so fun to experience that and to go out in the town. And, you know, people are camping on people's yards. And it's beautiful there, too, like that big lake and everything. Like, that's like, it was the coolest festival ever. Yeah.
And you saw a lot now.
Oh yeah, so now I mean I've probably done it 3 times now between Interrupters and Rancid and Transplants, and every time it's always a good time. And the bill, like the lineup is always awesome too.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's like 969, I think, person live there actually.
I know, yeah.
That amount of people is just crazy.
I know, it's crazy. There was more people at our show last night than live in that whole town. So
then there was the Green Day tour. Did you guys see that coming, or
well,
did the offer fall down? And yeah, of course.
you know, it was one of those things that we never really, I mean, never even in our wildest dreams. In our wildest dreams, maybe like when we were, younger, like. But when that offer came through, yeah, we were shocked and so grateful and honored to be asked. And it's honestly, we learned so much from touring with those guys in the past year, and they took such good care of us, and it was an amazing experience for all of us. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's something you don't believe. You're just stuck in it, You just play and play, and then the offer came, and you're in, and it's just like the awesomest thing ever, man.
I know, and going into, we'd never played venues of that size before, and it's still, I don't know if we ever really got used to it. We had to like change our show to like, okay, now we're playing in these big rooms, and just having to do that as a band, it was a challenge for us, but I think we learned a lot, and we were able to like, take what we learned and bring it back to like, our club shows and our festival shows and everything we do. And yeah, we were just so grateful for the opportunity from those guys to be able to actually take our band to that level. It was really an honor.
And reach a public that it's very, maybe more diverse than, the fans of the Interrupters more of the time.
Yeah, I mean, we are super lucky to have played with some of our favorite bands of all time in the punk rock world, and and Green Day comes from the same kind of world that we come from. It's just that their reach is just a little broader. You know what I mean? They have that like mainstream success too. So you're not only getting the old school punk rock Green Day fans, but you're getting people who discovered them, in the last just of hearing them on the radio and that might not know too much about punk rock, and they could learn, from bands like Green Day of like where this type of music came from, and I think it's really cool to be a part of that for us.
And yeah, and you deserve it, and I think it's so freshy, the sounds and everything. We need that right now. I know it's tough here, you're in front, and I'm sure those guys said that to you, in the 90s, it was more easy, kind of, there was money, label, we're still working, but right now it's pretty different, the way to reach people through like YouTube or, and people listen to music for Spotify, and, it's more tough. So it's cool to see that, even that, it can still work if you work hard and have the intelligence of do it well, which I think is the case with you guys.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, because I think there's things about it that are definitely more tough because people aren't buying records the way they are, and radio and MTV isn't as important as it once was, where it could break a band overnight. But you do have the internet, and you have the ability to reach lots of people, and anybody could reach lots of people nowadays just with that. And when your stuff goes available for stream, it's available worldwide. So that's a really cool thing, for nowadays. But yeah, it's definitely a lot different than it has been. I feel like, popular music has only been around almost like probably less than 100 years now. I mean, if you think about it, when, just the last 100 years, how many eras it's been and how much it's changed in just every decade it changes, So I'm really curious to see like where it goes. And yeah, we're really fortunate to be able to do what we do in this day and age, I think, also.
Yeah, and me too. It's really interesting because no one knows where it's going, but and no one think we're creating something or marking the history of music, which it's cool. Maybe we do, because back in the days, those bands, the Black Flag, the first wave, they didn't know, they just did it, and after 10 years, they realized, shit, that was cool, man. We created something, and I think it's kind of re-happening right now because the structure just fall apart, and no one knows where it's going, but everyone doing it. And thank you for still losing money in the name of music.
Well, hey, as long as there's people coming to the show, we're gonna keep playing. I mean, we have so much fun touring and making records, and you were really fortunate to be able to do what we do. So you were just, we like to say we didn't reinvent the wheel, but we're trying to keep it rolling.
And it's funny because, I always said, look at the fans of a band. What you reflect through your music and the way, you you put it, the fans came. If you do something intelligent, most of the people gonna be intelligent. The Descendants prove it. And I think, the fans are beautiful. Every, people that love or enjoy Interrupters are intelligent, wise people that, are well aware of what's happening in the world. And it's beautiful because I think that, like I said, you choose to do it wisely, and wisely people come to the Interrupters.
That's awesome. And that means a lot to hear you say that, because we love our fans so much. And I do believe that a band's fans are kind of a reflection of the energy they put out. And, we play a show, we look out in the audience and we see smiles, we see families, we see people of all ages, people of all races, all religions, all everything. And we're so lucky to be able to, have that diverse fan base. And we're lucky that it keeps growing too, and everyone, they'll tell their friends, and next time we play in a town, there'll be more people there, and it's not lost on us that, like, that's pretty rare for a band. It's been around as long as us, so we're super grateful for that. Yeah.
Hell yeah, the third record is done. I saw the picture with Mr. Brett and Tim.
It's not done. We're
almost done.
Almost done. We're halfway there. We still got some more recording to do when we get back from this tour, but yeah, look out for that sometime next year, and and more touring too.
Is it tough to do it behind tour, between tours?
It's yes and no, because the thing is there's less pressure for us because we're on Hellcat, and it's the most like they let you work at your own pace. Tim's super creatively open to everything, so it's not like they're like, you have to have a record, it has to be like this, and it has to be done at this time, and it has to sound like this and look like this. It's just we get to be free, and having Tim as a producer also. He's like the fifth member of the band, so this is our third record as the five of us. So we have a really good working relationship, and we work really well together in the studio. So it's actually fun to be able to come home from tour and take all our energy that we have from all the shows we played and just bring it into the studio. And so it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to finish this one up. Definitely.
Guys, thank you so much for taking time.
Yeah.
It's when we hear the interview, it's our 450 episode.
Oh wow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So we celebrate with you guys.
That's awesome. 450 episodes? So this is number 450 right here? Yeah. That's a good number. All right. I like it.
So guys, keep on pushing the border of music. Thank you so much for the generosity in your time, man. And I always said to Ben, if you're close to people and you're generous, you're gonna stay forever, man.
Hey, well, I'm gonna knock wood for that. Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that.
Before we leave, we're broadcast live from a studio in a kind of college radio normally, but we're also broadcast on the radio web. Can you do me an ID just saying you're listening to punkrockradio.ca? That's it. As simple as that. punkrockradio.ca. My French trying to get over my English.
I'll tell you this, your English is better than my French, so don't worry about it. So, okay, ready? Hey, this is Kevin from the Interrupters, and you're listening to punkrockradio.ca.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Can we take a picture?
Yeah, for sure.